What is going on? My name is Psyche and welcome back to another Dead Cells run. This time around, I'm going to feature a run with the barrel launcher. So the barrel launcher was a new weapon that came out in the 2.0 update with the Distillery expansion thing. So for those that are just new to my content, I post Dead Cells content in the form of both guides as well as 5BC gameplay runs, just like this one. If any of that is interesting to you, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on my other content, and there is no commitment, you can unsubscribe anytime you want. So something really interesting about the barrel launcher is that in biomes, it is a bit strategic in the sense that you have to find the correct terrain to use it on, because if you can bank the barrel launcher after, against the wall, it does crit damage. Although a lot of weapons in Dead Cells suffer a lot in the early game, barrel launcher is actually not the case because the damage it does is actually pretty substantial even in the early game. And here I decided to take a barnacle, I don't know why, but mostly because it aligned with the color I was going for. So in this beginning area in the prisoners' quarters, I'm just going to use the Spartan sandals to clear out this biome. For those that are new with my content, I do all of my runs in custom mode because I think that's that way that you're supposed to play this game. A lot of content creators, especially for Dead Cells, they play the game on custom mode only, and I don't think that's very faithful to the real aspect of how this game is supposed to be played. And you see there just how good the Spartan Sandal was. I was able to just camp in this tight corridor area and then just kick everything into the walls because it stun locks enemies when you kick them against the wall. And there I just picked up the barrel launcher in the transition area to the toxic sewers, and now the fun is finally able to begin. You see here I'm trying to be greedy with my kills, basically bank it against the wall if I can. And especially if you're just facing against the wall, you can easily just deal critical damage with it. Although sometimes you do have to be careful because if the enemy is attacking as the barrel is hitting them, they will bounce the ammo back at you and then you have to dodge that. And the main complaint about the barrel launcher is that sometimes you take a lot of damage when you mess it up and the enemies bounce it back. So what I try to do is that if you're just practicing with the barrel launcher, what you can do is pick up the Masochist mutation, because the barrels that come back at you actually count as trap damage. So here I'm just going to use the lightning rod. It's working out surprisingly well. On my tier list for Fatal Falls, I did rate it in the C tier mainly because it kind of suffers in bosses, and there you saw me do a really nice kill with the barrel launcher there with the 2 bats. Now, as I was editing this video, I wanted to create a little skit in the beginning of this video to kind of hype things up. And basically, if I did a really interesting kill with a barrel launcher, I would kind of just cut it and paste it into a separate sequence so I can add all the interesting bits together. And you saw in the intro, I had an amazing timekeeper fight in this build. If people aren't going to watch this video, they should at least watch the timekeeper fight because it is just one of the most thrilling fights I have ever had in the history of Dead Cells. And of course, I just ground slammed into a pit of poison there. Hate it when that happens. I know that pit of poison is always there in every single run, but sometimes I just forget. And there you saw the scorpion bounce the barrel back, but I was able to dodge through it because I suspected that it might have happened. So if you want to see the timekeeper fight, which I think is probably the highlight of this run, you can just use the chapters in the video to just go straight into the timekeeper fight. So with the elite here, you see how this is a tight corridor, it's very long. For some reason the rampager just fell. I'm trying to bank it off the wall there from a tighter space so you can easily do the critical hits. Now I'm gonna ditch the owl for ice armor because I think it is a great survival option, especially in glass cannon builds. Gonna move on forwards to the corrupted prison. I don't know why, but I decided to take the boomerang inside the backpack. It's not I really need it, especially for the Spartan Sandal as well. I'm gonna get cursed. I'm gonna show the entire footage of me actually lifting the curse because I think it's pretty interesting. So you see here, even at this stage of the game, the barrel launcher already does a pretty decent amount of damage, especially with when you bank it off a wall. You get almost one-shotted the sludge at this point of the game. Usually a lot of tactics builds suffer a lot, especially in the early game, even at this stage, especially if you look at something like the magic missiles. And here I knew that the slammer was going to be a problem. And here yeah, I used the ice armor at the last second, which kind of saved me. That's definitely something you gotta be careful of, especially against slammers. They're just really tricky to deal with, especially with this setup. And here what I'm just trying to do is just bank the barrel off the wall while I'm climbing in mid-air, and that's how I'm able to kill like that sludge monster. I'm gonna pick up some food, but in terms of like everything else, it's going pretty well so far. The Wave of Denial is making really short work of these monsters. I tried to bank the barrel off the wall there, but the automaton got in the way, so I couldn't deal critical hits. One other thing that people have been like kind of asking me about is that if I wanted to do a build with a specific setup, people said that I should just reset each and every run until I get the items I wanted. But the thing is, I don't actually do these videos with like a specific build in mind. I'm just playing the game normally. And here you'll see, yeah, this Inquisitor's giving me some trouble here because it's always deflecting my attacks. So I just got tired of it and just decided to go over there and just kill the thing myself. So again, with this Elite Sludge, the Toxic Miasma, you can just bank it off the wall and it dies in a couple of hits. You'll see there with the Ice Armor saved me again. Everything happens in this game like super fast, so it's like sometimes you miss a lot of details. But anyways, I really like the Ice Armor. I think I should call it like the Clutch Armor actually, because a lot of the times it saved me some runs. And here with the Elite Failed Experiment, I'm just gonna like bank the barrel off the wall and see it's like invisible, but already I'm able to kill the thing. Moving forwards to the Ancient Sewers, now I knew the barrel launcher was going to suffer a bit in the Conjunctivius fight, but honestly, I can probably do it, it's just that it will take a while. And spoilers alert, it did take a while. Yeah, you'll see once I get into the fight, I might even like speed up the footage a bit because the fight was going on for way too long. So Ancient Sewers is a pretty interesting biome to go through, especially if you have like a tactics build, because everything's in tight corridors. You can easily melt through everything, especially with the Wave of Denial. And honestly, I just find like tactics gameplay to be 100% more interesting than tactics gameplay. Because I don't know if you saw in the last video with the explosive crossbow, I was just kind of going around the biomes and just tapping the square button and then everything dies. But here, you have to like think a bit more strategically in terms of your placement of your barrels. And here I find a challenge rift. Yeah, I've been missing some challenge rifts recently. Some people have been telling me about it in the comments, but honestly, a lot of the times I was just too focused on what I was doing and I just forget that challenge rifts are even in the game. So gonna fast forward the footage of me actually going through the challenge rift, because I don't think it's like that interesting to watch, though I wanted to show the footage of me actually going through it. Definitely take extra jump amulets because those help out a lot in these challenge rifts. And finally, I was able to clear it with no problem. Just gonna recycle the amulet, and here I thought the Wave of Denial would like knock the bomber out of the air, that's why I dodged a bit earlier than I was supposed to. But honestly, it's not that bad. The shield bearer is a bit annoying to deal with, but honestly, just hit in the back and it's no problem. And I decided to ditch the Wave of Denial for the Magnetic Grenade, because I thought you could actually deflect projectiles that enemies bounce back at you if you use the Magnetic Grenade. So there we are, cleared the elites there. The barrel launcher is really nice in this biome because you will always find opportunities to bank it off walls. I find another ice armor in this cell area, but honestly it's a lower tier and I don't really like it. And finally, moving forwards to the Conjunctivius fight. Now, like I said before, this fight is going to take quite a while because I just had some trouble like actually trying to get the Conjunctivius to get into range of the barrel launcher. I tried to bank it off walls, but honestly, it was just not very cooperating. So, just gonna try to like launch the barrel at it a bunch of times. You'll see that it doesn't actually do a lot of damage. So I try my best to find opportunities to bank it off walls, and there I just missed the Magnetic Grenade. That was probably a bit detrimental to the fight, honestly. And I even missed the lunge attack in the beginning of the fight. That's how I missed the no-hit, so unfortunate, but whatever. And finally, I think at this point I was finally able to get it to the first tentacle phase. Now with the tentacles, I thought you could like just launch the barrels off the walls, bounce it off the walls, and it does critical hits, but honestly, I think if the tentacles are charging at you, like it might actually deflect the barrels. Though honestly, I'm not too sure, because I don't use the barrel launcher very often. It's definitely a weapon that needs a lot of testing to use, because a lot of players probably won't be able to pick it up from the start. I thought it was terrible at first, because like it was just... It's possible to get damage deflected back at you, which is like a terrible idea, honestly. And with the recent change to the barrel launcher, I believe, in version 2.1, the barrel launcher got changed to tactics only. On my tier list, I did give it a A tier, And honestly, it's because like I think it's a very fun weapon. It's not the most overpowered thing in the world, but it is definitely fun to use. So moving forward to the second tentacle phase, just gonna try to do parries. It's mainly the thunder shield that's doing a lot of the work in this fight so far. Sometimes it interrupts your parry windows like you saw there. I don't know like why it does that, but honestly it seems to interrupt enemy attacks, so whatever, I'm not really against it. And you saw there, interrupted the attack again. Yeah, I'm not sure what really causes your player to do that. But anyways, just gonna hammer Conjunctivius a bit more and then she'll be dead in no time. Again, you do have to be careful when using the barrel launcher because enemies can bounce it back at you. But I thought Ice Armor was saving a lot of the damage I was taking here because it provided like that extra bit of insurance that in case I got hit, I would be able to negate the damage. And there we are, finally. Conjunctivius is down, and I move on forward to the graveyard. I thought the graveyard was a natural fit for this weapon because there's a lot of small enemies, and I was really able to take advantage of the Parting Gift mutation, which drops a bomb every time an enemy dies. Now I'm gonna make a guide on picking mutations sometime in the future, and spoiler alert, I think Parting Gift is probably one of the best mutations in the entire game right now because it's just so overpowered. And it really embodies the powerful nature of tactics builds in general because honestly tactics builds are the strongest in the game, as it should be. So another thing that I've been getting a lot of talk about is about 5BC spoiler content. Now I don't know about people watching this, but I actually like knew about the 5BC stuff when I was stuck at like 2BC. So if people actually care about spoilers, I will probably like put some warnings in every one of my runs to make sure that people don't get spoiled themselves. Really cool kill with the barrel launcher. Yeah, that's one of the major good things about the barrel launcher is that you get a lot of cool kills with it. See there, I'm getting a bit greedy with my shots there, and you'll see it kind of backfires on me sometimes because you do critical hits, but it's more likely that enemies will bounce it back at you, and as you saw there, I was able to get saved by the Ice Armor. I got the barrel launched back at me, so got saved by Ice Armor in the last second. Very, very grateful that happened. Again, like honestly, I would consider Ice Armor to be one of like the major contenders for one of the best survival skills in the game because it allows you to play more recklessly, especially if you're playing melee survival where you're prone to a lot of error. I thought I was going to take the infected food because honestly I needed a heal, but honestly I can just look for a food shop. And here I'm probably just going to bank the shots off the walls to get rid of the catcher there. And finally I was able to get to the food shop and I was able to actually reduce the melees and did not take the infected food. And for some reason I took damage to the trap there. I don't know what I was doing. But anyways, gonna move on forwards to the curse chest from the graveyard. I thought about which second boss I was going to fight and I decided to go for Timekeeper because if you look at the giant fight, there aren't actually any walls in the arena, so you can't actually get critical hits with the barrel launcher in the giant fight. So I'm going to move on forwards to the Forgotten Sepulcher. With the curse actually, it looks like I ran out of enemies to fight in the graveyard, so I'm just going to carry the curse into the Forgotten Sepulcher. And because I have the barrel launcher, I should be able to melt through this biome fairly easily. And there we are, some enemies to fight. Honestly, I can just wait in the corner and then just launch everything into the things ahead of me. And yeah, you'll see me trying to do some cool kills. Just bank it off the walls. I still have to lift this curse from the graveyard, so I still have to play a bit cautiously, honestly. But you see here, the barrel launcher and the magnetic grenade is just making sure work of everything. And I was able to clear the first curse with ease. Now, there is a guaranteed curse in this biome as well, so I couldn't really rest just yet. And I don't know how, but that mummy just, yeah, you saw it like just kind of fly across the entire like platform. I really wasn't expecting that. The hitbox on those things are pretty weird, and I don't deal with the mummies a lot anyways. I find the curse chest, but I'm going to scout ahead a bit to see that there are any traps ahead, because I really don't want to deal with traps while I'm cursed, because they just kill you instantly. And for some reason, I'm carrying the knockback shield. It's probably not a very good shield, and I'll probably have to replace it sometime in the future. It is a cool concept, but honestly, knockback just really isn't that good, even in both biomes and bosses. Just gonna activate Ice Armor. Again, it creates that bit of insurance that like you can actually clear out monsters more safely. And you see me taking a ice grenade. The reason for this is because I found it in a chest, and I'm just gonna use it while I'm lifting the curse to make it a bit easier. So you saw there, I switched the ice armor back for the magnetic grenade because it fit more with my build. I'm just gonna camp in that platform area, and it's able to just clear everything. I thought I was gonna get hit by the mummy, but honestly I think I got a bit lucky there, and besides I have ice armor activated. And there are a lot of strategic movements you can do with the barrel launcher, especially if you're like just climbing up like a ladder. You can just bank it off the wall and it does a lot of damage. Gonna move on forwards a bit. I don't really see that trap very often, and from what I can tell, the barrel launcher actually got reworked sometimes, because I remember the first time it was introduced to the game, it was like a bit slower than what it is now, which I think really hurt the weapon because you had less opportunities to actually make it work, because enemies could like hit it easier than the version that it has now. So I took a bit of darkness damage back then. I got a bit too scared. I think in this biome you really have to like just keep going if like you're running out of light sources, because sooner or later you will encounter another light orb, and all you have to do is just keep going. If you go back, you'll probably take more damage instead, because the way back is a bit longer than the light source ahead. So I think in this scenario, you definitely want to be a bit more reckless with your playstyle if you're running out of light source. You just have to keep on going, and honestly, you will eventually find another one. It should be mentioned that elites also give you a light source when you kill them, and this one's permanent, so it's in your best interest to also kill elites. Just making short work of all of these guys. I know that like Scarecrow, it's a bit hard to fight it with this setup as well, because Scarecrow's always like attacking you relentlessly with the scythes. So I thought Timekeeper was really the only good choice of the second bosses to fight using the barrel launcher. Another thing people ask me is that whether or not I will start streaming. I do plan on doing some streams, but basically I'm not very good at it. I've never tried it out, though it is something that I'm definitely open-minded towards. I will be trying it out sometimes, and even if I do stream, it will probably just be on YouTube. My schedule doesn't really allow me to have that much freedom. I can't stream every single week on a consistent schedule. It's just not something that I can do right now. And some people said they'll rather hear me do like a live commentary on these runs, but honestly I'm not very interesting to like listen to when it's like live. And besides, I'll probably just be too focused on the game in the first place, and I won't really talk all that much. But because these videos are post-game commentary, I'm able to have a bit more freedom with like how I'm commentating and the pacing of what I'm able to do. I switch out the magnetic grenade for the lacerating aura, because I think if the barrels get deflected back at you, you will be able to hit it with the lacerating aura. Here, yeah, this fight was really intense. This is one of the best Timekeeper fights I have ever had. A lot of close calls and a lot of interesting plays. You'll see here, the Timekeeper is actually not that tough, and you saw when I banked the barrel off the wall, it actually did a lot of damage. So already we're able to enter the second phase. Just gonna do some parries and activate Ice Armor. You'll see in the second here, Ice Armor was able to save me from a deadly hit. So as you saw there, as Timekeeper dashed, I couldn't get out of the way, so Ice Armor took the hit for me. Did some parries, and finally, one more parry is gonna do it. Timekeeper is down, and that was a no-hit fight. So very glad how that went out. I don't no-hit Timekeeper very often, especially not with like a meme setup with the barrel launcher. Gonna move on forwards to the Distillery, because honestly, I mean, if you have the barrel launcher, you absolutely have to go to Distillery. It's just like a theme of this biome in general. And you'll see here, I'm gonna do a really cool, that was a 200 IQ play with the Ice Armor there. I'm gonna do a replay of that, and you'll see me like activating Ice Armor at the last second to save myself the damage. As I said before, I might as well start calling Ice Armor Clutch Armor, because that's what it is right now. Gonna move on forwards to the puzzle. This part's a bit weird because the radius of the barrels are actually a lot bigger than I expected at first. The first couple of times I ran through that puzzle, I got hit, so that's probably something you gotta watch out for. But I was able to move on with the biome. The barrel launcher is really nice. It provides a lot of range. And here, yeah, you'll see like in this long corridor area, there are just a bunch of living barrels. I'm just trying to like play it safe and just launch one every couple of seconds so I don't get overwhelmed. But I was finally able to clear it, and yeah, I don't know what I was doing there. Did some parries. Honestly, Distillery is a pretty dangerous biome, as if you don't have the right builds. And even if you have the right builds, it's still a bit like annoying to deal with all the monsters. You definitely want to have like fast and burst damage to make it through the biome effectively. And here you'll see something. I went down and yeah, so I didn't even see that there was a disgusting worm down there, and I don't know if you saw that, but disengagement didn't even proc at all. I believe I was down to 21%, which should have caused disengagement to proc and save me the damage, because I knew something like that was going to happen. So unfortunate, but what I did here is that I just hopped into a custom game because I don't like to end my runs on a loss, so I just went into a custom game, gave myself the same set of equipment, and went on to quote-unquote continue on with the run. So gonna move on forwards to the Hand of the King fight. You'll see that I will actually suffer a bit because I got a bit too greedy. Basically in this fight you can like inflict critical hits on Hand of the King if you like hit it against the wall area. And you see there, I don't know what I was doing. I think I just got too greedy in this, honestly. Gonna do some parries, and I was able to land a critical hit that time. But honestly, I think like you shouldn't be too greedy in this fight, because it will hurt you in the end. I think it's safer to just let your turrets do most of the work for you. Because a lot of the times, Hand of the King is like really fast, and you will end up taking a lot of damage if you're too greedy in this. And Hand of the King is almost down. I thought I could finish it, but honestly, I don't know what I was doing. Yeah, I don't know the hitbox on that thing, but I was finally able to finish Hand of the King. That was a very costly win. But finally, Hand of the King is down. I'm going to move on forwards to the Astrolab. Honestly, not doing too good at this point. Only 11% health. I contemplated about using a health flask. I decided to just play it safe and tough it out. I mean, this might be one of the few times I actually use custom mode. I mean, like I said, I'm not the best Dead Cells player out there. I die in about like 40% on my runs. So every single run that I put out is a run that I generally win. Though Dead Cells is like a very volatile game, a lot of things can go wrong if you're not careful. But luckily, I was able to do a lot of damage with the barrel launcher at this time. Just gonna play it really safely. Even though I found a piece of food, I'm probably still going to die to like a really fast attack. And I would rather not have that happen, especially having gone so far. And yeah, I'm just trying to play it really safely, and I don't know how, but I was able to dodge that barrel. It probably would have killed me, honestly, but I think I got a bit lucky. Gonna kill the first elite failed experiment, which gave me one of the keys required to continue on. I might do a biome guide on the Astrolab soon, so I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know how many people actually care about spoilers at this point. I mean, I do put 5BC in the title of the videos, so I'm assuming that people watching this will know about the 5BC content. I mean, I will honestly be surprised if I saw anyone that knew about the 5BC content without actually getting it spoiled online, because that didn't happen to me. I knew about the 5BC content way before I even reached 5BC myself, so it's not really a surprise when I got to the Astrolab the first couple of times, because I knew like exactly what was gonna happen already. But again, just trying to be careful with the shots. You definitely want to be very cautious at this point of the game. I'm just gonna lure the slammer down here with the homunculus rune. It's really something that's helpful after you reach the later stages of the game, because I don't think a lot of players will use the homunculus rune very often. And they're really nice dodge with the runner. I knew it was gonna teleport, and for some reason, when the runners teleport to you, they attack like right away. There's no pause when they're going to attack, so you really have to watch out when runners attack you, and like they spawn from the melees. Just gonna keep on going up this tower area. Gonna reach the end almost. It's mainly the librarians that causing me a bit of issues because it interrupts your dodge timing. Gonna do the cheese with the two slammers, and at this point I thought I was doing pretty good. I'm gonna buy the cough syrup that eliminates the melees, but I don't know if it even does anything at this point. Gonna move on forwards to the collector boss fight. I have 3 flask charges left, which is doing really well actually. So I've never gone this far with the barrel launcher yet, so I knew I couldn't get too greedy in this fight, otherwise I will end up taking a lot of damage. though I did take the support mutation because I believe I'll be using the Tesla coil a lot in this fight. If I ever got like suspicious that I will take a hit, I'm just gonna activate Ice Armor. The Tesla coil is doing amazingly well, and already I'm able to get the Collector down to the first heal. Just gonna parry the rest of the attacks, and I think... Nope, okay. Collector's gonna teleport to the enemy room. Just gonna put the Tesla coil in the middle there, and as you saw, it's just able to do so much damage. I'm just banking the shots off the walls to take advantage of the critical hits condition, and honestly, Collector is still like resting, so I can probably be a bit greedy in that during that time period. But at this point of the game, I couldn't like risk anything. I don't know what I was doing, but honestly, Emergency Triage as well as Disengagement are really nice boss killing mutations that I definitely recommend anyone to take if they're struggling with boss fights. So finally, I'm able to teleport to the last room. I didn't get teleported to the Spike Ball phase, which is probably a very good sign. This part of the fight will probably be the toughest part because there is no time where the Collector is like doing nothing. Just gonna do some attacks, the parries with the light beams, and finally I was really surprised because that fight actually went out a lot quicker than I expected. So there we are, Collector is down. So this has been a custom game, well, almost like a one run with the barrel launcher, so hopefully you have enjoyed it. I don't like to post losses on my channels, that's why I use custom mode. But hopefully I was able to provide some continuity with the run, because I really liked how I was doing in my normal run, so I wanted to continue it in a way. Technically this doesn't really count as a win, but hopefully you have enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with the barrel launcher. It is definitely one of the most interesting items in the entire game, though it is a bit risky to use. Thank you all for watching. Next time I'm going to feature a run with the broadsword of all things, because I think it's a very interesting weapon and it's actually stronger than it looks. So until then, thanks for watching.